Hello, everybody. There's some major breaking news I wanted to bring everybody tonight. It's about 7:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. Let's put this up there on the screen. U.S. and British military have officially launched massive retaliatory strikes against the Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen, striking approximately a dozen sites all across the country of Yemen on the Iranian-backed militia, which has launched several missiles and attacks on ships in the Red Sea. So this is obviously a breaking news situation, so we don't have a full amount of the details. What we do know are that the militaries and the governments that were involved, while it was just the United States and the UK, it was, quote, with support from Australia, the Netherlands, Bahrain, Canada, all these joint airstrikes. These strikes involved U.S. aircraft, U.S. ships, and submarines, as well as whatever the Brits were able to bring to the table. We have a little bit of the video. I want this to just play while I'm talking a little bit about this, so we can put that up there right now. Yemeni sources have confirmed that the strikes actually occurred, all of this within the last 30 or 40 minutes or so. Series of ballistic missiles apparently launched from Yemen towards targets in the Red Sea, possibly in retaliation. Now, we have a very short reaction from the Houthi group, a statement that they put out on Telegram. They say, quote, "We are with Palestine. We will not back down from our position, and we will respond to any aggression against us." To reiterate here, the Houthis, the Iranian-backed group, this has been the 27 now attacks that they have mounted since November 19th, where they decided to begin attacking both ships moving through the Red Sea that were going towards Israel, and it later began basically a full-scale operation that has mounted now major response from the United States, from the UK, and a so-called coalition, which eventually fell apart. Of course, the reason why the Red Sea is so important is that it is one of the major thoroughfares of traffic for global shipping. It has caused hundreds of billions of dollars already to be lost because many ships have had to divert their traffic around the Horn of Africa, particularly hurting European markets, Israelis, ports as well, specifically their ships, which, you know, had been targeted by Houthi suicide drones and others. This has frankly just been a long time coming now. The United States has been engaged not only with anti-ballistic, anti-ship missiles that they've had to shoot down from the U.S. guided missile destroyers. We've also had multiple other instances. The last one, it appears to be the quote-unquote straw that breaks the camel's back just yesterday, 2 a.m. Yemen time, with an anti-ship ballistic missile. But there previously had been instances where you had boats that were literally shot from U.S. military helicopters. Now, all of this obviously has happened after the war in Gaza, the Israeli bombing specifically. Now, the Houthis, Iranian-backed group, say that they are doing this in response to Israeli military action. They claim that they will stop their strikes if there is a ceasefire in Gaza, and there was diminished activity whenever a ceasefire had previously occurred. Now, this is clearly the United States decided that's not something they're going to push for, and the Israelis certainly aren't as well. So now the U.S., the UK are the ones who are militarily involved. This is especially significant. This is the first United States military strike on the territory of Yemen since 2016. So it's been quite a long time. And just to take people a little bit back for the context, the Houthis have been involved in a brutal civil war inside of Yemen now for years. They were actually the target of a 9-year bombing campaign from the Saudi Arabia and the Emiratis, the UAE, largely because they are Iranian-backed, and these are regional rivalries between Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE for control of Yemen, which is in a very strategic position, as we can all see, as for why this happened. Now, the problem and the question mark here is going to be if this U.S. response, which the United States in an initial statement said was quote-unquote proportional, whether this will deter action. Now, previously, we had a statement from the Houthis that said that if there was any action against them, quote, "any American aggression will never remain without a response. That response will not be at the level of the operation that was recently carried out in targeting the American at sea with more than 24 aircraft and a number of missiles. The response is greater than that." Again, that's according to the Houthis. This attack seems to have been coordinated with some of the other powers in the region. President Sisi of Egypt apparently received a call earlier today from the Prime Minister of the UK, Rishi Sunak, who telegraphed quite a bit, given they had a full meeting of their cabinet and others who were notified, and there was quite a bit of advanced knowledge that the strike was going to occur. Nonetheless, I mean, the strike is still significant just for the main reason that this is the first expansion and direct intervention now, at the behest of the United States, the UK, to NATO allies into this situation and to this war. It really does, raise a lot of questions about where this goes. The Houthis they are not Hamas. They are much more on par with Hezbollah. Their military capability is pretty big. I mean, they've got ballistic missiles. They've had the capacity now to shut down shipping in the Red Sea. They've got a decent amount of military capability that they've been supplied from Iran for almost a decade now. Who knows how many strongholds that they have. As I said, previously on our show, the main concern about knocking out quote unquote Houthi infrastructure and all of that is that they're very well equipped to sustain bombing, as they showed us, and the situation with Saudi Arabia and with the UAE and their bombing campaign. There's also currently an international peace negotiation that was previously going on inside of Yemen, and this could turn this even to more of a catastrophe. Don't forget, before the humanitarian situation in Gaza, Yemen was one of the worst humanitarian situations in the world, and there was even bipartisan outrage here in the United States about the Saudi bombing campaign in Yemen. So we can't forget that this is a volatile situation. It very much could lead to an expanded American presence inside of the war, and it's one of those where, this leads to all kinds of possible scenarios. The Houthis very unlikely to just simply stop as a result of this. Who knows if the United States did, really carry out the strikes on significant military targets. We know what they say. We'll see. Right now, it's literally in the middle of the night Yemen time, so I think we'll get a little bit of video and others in the morning that we'll be able to assess whether we were able to do some damage. But the big question mark is that, like I said at the beginning, there's been some initial reports now that there were a Houthi response retaliatory attacks. Now, we don't know their night vision capabilities, what their radar systems and all of that look like, whether they're still functional after the site. But when we wake up in the morning, we certainly could see continued retaliatory strikes, as the Houthis have mounted daytime and nighttime attacks now in the past. But overall, that's what we know so far from the U.S., the UK. This has been confirmed from the Pentagon. President Biden originally was supposed to make a statement, according to the UK media, but he did not do so. Like I said, recording here now, 7:30 approximately Eastern time, just checking to make sure that we haven't seen anything. Actually, here we go. Literally just flashed across the wire. Statement from President Biden, quote, "These strikes are in direct response to unprecedented Houthi attacks against international maritime vessels in the Red Sea, including the use of anti-ship ballistic missiles for the first time in history. These attacks have endangered U.S. personnel, civilian mariners, and our partners, jeopardizing trade and threatened freedom of navigation. More than 50 nations have now been affected in 27 attacks on international commercial shipping. Crews from more than 20 countries have been threatened or taken hostage in acts of piracy." And so in that, basically in that statement, giving a lengthy, pretty long justification for the reason that the strikes did occur. So that's the initial response, confirmation there from the White House. We will see whether we're going to get any more detail and color. We will bring all of you the news of that in the morning, but just wanted to give you a little bit, just of an initial reaction, the breaking news, that situation. Here I have the full now White House statement that I'm looking here, and it just says, the ending says, "Today's defensive action follows this extensive diplomatic campaign and Houthi rebels escalating attacks against our commercial vessels. These targeted strikes are a clear message. The United States and our partners will not tolerate attacks on our personnel or allow hostile actors to imperil freedom of navigation in one of the world's most commercial shipping routes. I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and the free flow of international commerce as necessary." So there you go. That's everything that we've got right now so far. As we said, probably going to see initial and more battle damage assessments and all that whenever we wake up in the morning. Wishing you all a good night, and I hope you can sleep. Unfortunately, though, it does appear that the prospect of regional war probably probably higher than it's been in a long time, and a fearful moment now, almost 100 days into the war in Gaza. So there we go. And like I said, we will have more information for all of you tomorrow. Shout out to our premium members who make all of these possible. Our crew all been standby all day, and they help me put together this video, the elements, and all of that. So if you can help us out, breakingpoints.com, and I will see you all later.